Welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast. I'm Kendra Swalls, former teacher turned entrepreneur and mom of two. As women, we are so much more than just one thing. We're wives, moms, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, and dreamers with goals and ambition. On this podcast, we'll talk about everything from juggling family, work, and fun to making your dreams a reality through simple, effective marketing strategies. All designed specifically for busy moms who don't have a lot of extra time or money. So whether you're just getting started or already have an established business, there's something here for you. If you're ready to take on the challenge of becoming your own boss and making your dreams a reality, then let's get started because this girl means business. Hey there, and welcome to episode 197 of the Girl Means Business podcast. And Happy New Year! It's the first episode of 2023. I am so excited to be back. I took a couple of weeks off to spend time with my family and to enjoy the holiday season so that I could start off the new year completely refreshed and excited to get back into my business. Hopefully, you are feeling the same way. I hope that you took some downtime over the holidays to really relax and give yourself a break. We all need that in our business. And if you didn't, then I encourage you to really focus this year on ways that you can incorporate things into your business that allow you to take breaks without losing momentum in your business. That is what building a business that revolves around your life is all about. It's about creating systems and processes that allow you to step away and enjoy your life and feel like you have some kind of work-life balance while your business is still running in the background. And that is what we talk a lot about here on this podcast. But today, I want to talk about two different things. One is some of the changes coming to the podcast, nothing major, so don't worry. And two, our topic for today. Let's talk about the changes to the podcast really quick. So you may have already noticed that there's a brand new intro. I decided I wanted to change up the intro a little bit as I am starting to really refine who this podcast is for and what it's going to be about. I decided I wanted to give that intro a little more context. So anyone listening to this for the first time has a little better idea of what the podcast is about, who the podcast is for, and what you're going to get out of it. Now, if you're a longtime listener, you may know that sometimes people just skip through the intro, and that's totally fine. But if you are brand new to the podcast, I hope that intro will give you a little bit of a better idea of what we do here at the Girl Means Business podcast. Now, the other change coming to the podcast this year is I'm going to be changing up how I do some of the episodes going forward. I tend to be long-winded. I really like to talk a lot. It's why I started a podcast. But I also understand that as busy moms and women, we don't have time to listen to these super long podcast episodes every week, especially if this is not the only podcast you're listening to. So what I want to do is I really want to focus on giving you shorter episodes that are packed full of really valuable tips and information. And those are going to be the episodes that are just me sharing my experiences, advice, tips, ideas, research, things that I've put into practice. And then the episodes where I have a guest on are going to be a little bit longer episodes. So you may have one or two episodes a month that are a little bit longer, and then the majority of the episodes will be hopefully 20 minutes or less. The other thing is the guests that I have on the show. I love, love, love having guest experts come on the show. However, I do want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time. Again, I know you don't have hours upon hours to listen to podcasts. And so I want to make sure that I am curating a list of guests going forward for this year that are really going to bring value, expertise, and a different perspective on something that maybe we have already talked about or a topic we haven't really talked about yet. So I'm going to become very particular about who I have as a guest here on the show because I want to be the filter for what you're getting access to. I want to make sure that my goal and my job as your friend, your mentor, your coach is to help filter out the content that is just swarming out there. You may feel like completely inundated with all of this stuff. And I want this podcast to be a breath of fresh air where you come and you go, okay, I know that Kendra has picked the thing I need to talk about right now, the thing I need to be working on right now, or the thing I need to know about right now. And so I want to make sure I'm doing that with my guest as well. So those are just a couple little small changes coming to the podcast going forward, but I'm really excited as I go into year 4 of the podcast, which is crazy to talk about, but it's also super exciting. All right, so let's get into the topic of today's episode, which is all about trends and predictions. What I think we're going to see a lot more of in 2023, or new things that are coming kind of down the pipeline. Now, the reason I do this episode, or I'm doing it right now, is because I want to help give you some focus in your business. There are so many strategies out there. I mean, you can scroll Facebook or Instagram and you'll see 5 million different ways you can market or grow your business, and 5 million people telling you how to do it their way. But I want you to figure out a way that works for you and your unique business. So today I want to talk about 5 things that I'm going to be focusing on when it comes to marketing my business this year that I think are going to be really kind of key marketing strategies going forward. Now, again, nobody can predict the future, and Instagram last year had like over 100 some odd updates. It's too much to keep up with. And so we don't really know what's going to happen. And in 6 months from now, who knows? But these are the things that I fully believe are going to be instrumental when it comes to marketing your business. Now, the first one is a focus on original content. So what does original content mean? Well, that means that it's content you are creating from your own brain and not copying what someone else is doing. Now, when I say copying, I don't mean like you're going out and you're taking word for word what other people are doing, but we're seeing this, kind of trend in the last year with Reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all the things where people are, taking other audios and their voiceovers or they're copying and pasting kind of what someone else has done because it was a successful Reel or a successful TikTok, and they're just kind of recreating that. And while that was a good strategy in the beginning because those types of content went viral, those types of content were helping people to get seen, it's just becoming overdone. And at some point we all kind of go, okay, we've seen that. We've seen it done 20 different ways and it's not interesting anymore. And so the trend going forward is going to be a focus on creating original content. So that means creating YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels or TikToks where it's you sharing your own thoughts, your own advice, your own tips, your own voice, your whatever, but it's your content. So while you can still do the voiceovers and you can still do the fun music, we want to start to see more of you putting your creativity and your personality into your content. And that leads me into kind of the trend number 2, which is not really a new trend, but I do think there's going to be a lot heavier focus on this, and that is video content. Now, I know I can hear the cringing happening on the other side of your AirPods or in your car radio. I can feel it. The energy coming through. I know video is hard. It really is. But I promise you, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I know there's a lot of you that are like, I don't have the time. I don't like to be on camera. I'm not comfortable. That means I got to put on makeup and get dressed every day. I promise you that's not the case because it goes back to the idea of original content. People want to start to see more of just real life and real people. We don't want this idea of perfection. So the idea that your videos need to be perfect and fully edited and all this stuff is not realistic. In fact, just this morning, I had dropped my kids off at school, came home, I was fixing a quick breakfast and scrolling Instagram, and I saw someone post. It was a carousel post that was, learn how I create my reels. And I was like, all right, let's swipe through and see what this person does. And he was talking about how he had here's my, Canon R6 camera on this tripod, and here's this giant light, and I've got my background set up with this, and I've got this lighting for my background, and I record on my camera, and then I edit in this program, and then I add the captions through this program, and then I do this. And I was like, whoa. that is not realistic for the majority of people who are wanting to create video content in their business. And so I think that a lot of us are like, let's just get back to like basics of what is the easiest way we can do this with the lowest barrier to entry. And I'm going to talk a lot more about video content and original content and all of these things in future episodes. But I want you to have that in the back of your mind that video is something you need to start implementing into your business this year in some form or fashion. All right, the next one is omnichannel marketing. Now, what that means is that you are not focusing on just one channel when it comes to your social media. And this is similar. This may sound conflicting to what I've said in the past a little bit, because I'm always like, don't spread yourself too thin. And you shouldn't. There are too many platforms out there. However, putting all of your eggs in one basket is also not the greatest idea either. I have seen too many people who are like, I only do Instagram. Instagram is my jam. And then Instagram goes down or their account gets shut down. Guys, so many people are having their accounts shut down for absolutely no reason. And then they are panicking because they have no other outlet for their business. So I don't want that to be something that happens to you. So in 2023, I want you to start focusing on how can I branch out a little bit in my marketing, whether that means I have focused on Instagram and now I'm going to focus my energy on Instagram because I've got that running and it's going smoothly, and I'm going to add in email marketing, or I'm going to add in Pinterest marketing, or I'm going to add in YouTube videos or Facebook group. I want you to diversify your marketing platforms. I want you to make sure that you have multiple ways to reach your audience, because most of the time, now with email marketing, it's a little different, but with most of these platforms, we have very, very little control over what happens on those platforms. And I don't want you to be kind of a victim of losing your account and losing a huge part of your business, or I don't want you to feel like that you are tethered to these things with no real control and power. So by diversifying with the platforms that you are utilizing this year, you're going to ensure that you always have an outlet for your content and you have different ways of reaching your audience who might be in different places. All right, number 4 is data-driven marketing. So this means that we're going to be spending a little bit more time this year on looking at the data in our business and creating content and making marketing decisions based on that data. So in the past, we've seen a lot of creators and a lot of business owners who are just kind of like, let's just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks and then run with that. But when you really turn around and you look at the data and you go, you know what? This looks like it's really successful, but it's not really successful. And I'm honestly talking about viral content here. I've seen so many people say like, oh, my post went viral. It was great. It got, 300,000 views. And I asked them, well, that's amazing. How many new followers did you get? 5. Okay. Well, how many of those did you convert into clients? None. So that data really doesn't support that piece of content was really that successful. So we need to be focusing on the data and the analytics that really matter and the ones that are driving our business forward. What's the content? What's the outlet? What's the thing that you're doing that is actually moving your business in the forward, that's putting money in your bank account, that is creating a relationship with a client. So that's the data we need to be looking at to figure out and measure the effectiveness of your content and your marketing strategies. Okay, this last one I am really scared and super excited about, which sounds crazy, but just hear me out here. I will be doing an entire episode on this coming up, so don't feel like you have to go, what the heck are you talking about? I'm going to explain this way more in next week's episode. But my biggest trend prediction for 2023 is that businesses will really, really start to implement the use of bots and AI to grow their business. And this sounds like something out of a futuristic movie, and we've all seen how those end. It's usually not good. However, I have been using this in my business for the last month or two, and really longer than that in some cases. but it is incredible. These technologies can be used to automate and optimize various aspects of marketing, such as personalization and targeting and writing content. You guys, oh my gosh. So I was jumping on this bandwagon of this Chat GPT. And if you don't know what that is, don't fill your head with a bunch of information just yet. I will get to all of this next week. But I was going in, it's this new AI program where you can put in, a question or put in what you want and it gives you the response. So what I did is I took a former podcast episode. I got the transcript because in my podcast platform, it will give me an automated transcript. It's not great, but it's a transcript. I uploaded that transcript into this Chat GPT and I said, can you give me a podcast show notes using the information in this transcript? And within seconds, I had like a perfectly written podcast. And I can even say I want it to be in a fun, lighthearted voice, or I want it to be in a professional bullet pointed list. Whatever you want to tell it, it will do it. And it's not necessarily perfect, but it's really good. And I added in a few little personal things and then I was ready to go. I could also take that same thing and after it gave me the podcast show notes, I said, can you turn this into 2 separate social media captions that I can use to market this episode with a call to action to go listen to the podcast? And it gave me 2 really good social media captions that I could then use to market that episode. Guys, this all happened in a matter of minutes, probably less than 5 minutes. I had my show notes written. I had my captions for my social media post. I at one point even asked it to give me an episode title to if I were to rewrite the title of this, what would it look like? I could turn my show notes into a blog post. I could get a bullet pointed summary of things. It is absolutely mind-blowing what this AI can do. And then in the term of bots, when I say bots, I'm not talking about the bad bots that we see on social media. I'm talking about things like automation bots. So I use one called MiniChat. It allows me, you may have seen this on my Instagram where it's comment with the word email and I'll send you my email starter kit. And then when you comment, you get a DM from me with a link to that lead magnet. And that is a bot. It's a automated system that's running in the background of my, Instagram, making these things happen. And it's been a game changer. And I think that this, honestly, as crazy as it sounds, and I'm not someone who's let's jump on the whole thing of Meta and whatever, the virtual reality, all that kind of stuff, that blows my mind. And I have zero interest in not zero interest, but I just don't have the capacity to understand it. This AI and bot technology for our business, I feel like is going to be incredibly huge and a time saver, a lifesaver when it comes to helping us create things in our business and automate and give us back time in our business. If I had spent the time to actually create the show notes, create the captions, write the blog post, it would have been a good hour of my day. And I did it all in 5 minutes using this AI system. So I just got back 55 minutes of my day. That's incredible. And it was free. It didn't cost me a thing. So again, I will be getting way more into that next week on next week's episode. So make sure you tune in next week. But those are my predictions for the trends going into 2023. And I just realized I probably started talking really fast here at the end, but I got really excited about this whole AI thing coming up in business. All right. So a quick recap. The 5 trends I predicted for 2023 are more original content we are creating just from scratch in our businesses, more video content, using a combination of multiple channels and outlets, so not just one platform for marketing our business, using data-driven decision-making when it comes to what's working and the effectiveness of our marketing strategies, and then finally the use of bots and AI technology to help us simplify, streamline, and just get back more time in our business. So those are my predictions. I would love to hear your thoughts on these, or if you have predictions of your own, let me know. Head over to Girl Means Business on Instagram, send me a DM. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave me a review. It's a great way to say thank you for these episodes and to help other people find the podcast. So I hope you have a great week, and I will see you back here next week, same time, same place.